we're gonna bring the call to order the engrossment rules resolution and credentials meeting. Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Alderwoman Howard,
Present.
Alderman Ornowitz,
Present.
Chairwoman Green,
Present.
Alderman Todd,
Present.
Chairwoman Tyus.
Present.
We have 5 present.
Okay. We have, everyone's here, so we don't need to excuse the alderman. And so the next thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Let's take a minute to make sure we look at them and be thankful that we have a clerk that understands we're supposed to have minutes. I forgot to say we have a quorum. My coffee smells so good. If I could just drink coffee. Everyone have time to look at the minutes. I'd entertain a motion to pass the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Clerk, if you will call the roll.
Alderwoman Howard,
Aye.
Alderman Ornowitz,
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Green,
Aye.
Alderman Todd,
Aye.
Chairwoman Tyus.
Aye.
We have 5 aye votes.
By your vote, we've approved the minutes from Wednesday, January 29th, 2020. Okay, the next thing we have, we held over Board Bill number 192 from Alderman Joseph Vollmer regarding a ground lease. Mr. Sweeney called me and we met for a long time. Mr. Sweeney, if you and the person that you brought would sit at the front of the end of the chair. We also have a member from the comptroller's office.
Kelly
And
Anderson.
please state your names for the record.
Sure. David Sweeney with Lewis Rice.
Kelly Anderson, Comptroller's Office.
Okay, so we held this over because we had lots of questions. He's answered all my questions, but wanted the members of the committee to be able to ask questions. Would you all like me to tell you the things that we've already decided that needed to be changed so that we don't go into?
Yeah, that makes it easier.
Okay, so if you look at page 2, let's see, look at page 2 of 2 of the actual bill, with line 2, we took out any and all. Let's see, we took out any and it should read, take all actions to execute and deliver for and on behalf. So we're omitting the words any and. And then on line 5, we changed it to say authorized by this ordinance. I tripled these as scribe. Okay, then we're gonna go down to line 8. And we're gonna, last thing, we're gonna take out any, because this any made everything very broad, okay? And we're
just taking out any.
yes, then we're gonna go to line 10.
And replace it with the. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I replaced it with the, that's right, thank you. To make the changes to the document, agreements, and instruments approved and authorized by this ordinance. And then we're gonna add, did we add lease there?
And lease.
And lease, right.
Where is it?
9,
After
by
the
this
word.
ordinance
After
and lease.
ordinance.
And lease.
And on line 10
And the
also.
same thing, we're gonna just, let's slow down so he can get everything.
Wait a minute.
Ordinance and lease, okay, so it'll read, section 4. The comptroller and her designated representative with the advice and concurrence of the city councilor are hereby further authorized and directed to make the changes to the documents, agreements, and instruments approved and authorized by this ordinance and lease, as may be consistent with the intent of this ordinance and lease, and necessary and appropriate in order to carry out the manner herein authorized with no such further action of the Board of Aldermen. So we did that because this whole no such further action by the Board of Aldermen, we wanted to confine it to only what we were approving. Anything outside of this, then they need to come back. We don't wanna have what happened with the hockey team. And somebody decides they can do whatever they want. We then went to page 2. Alderman Howard had found this. So the third paragraph, J, it should be 165 in writing. Instead, so the numbers was correctly, but it was wrong, and so it's at 165,000. Okay, we went to page 5, paragraph 7. The amendment, we removed the word not, because it's supposed to be recorded.
Wait, where was that?
Paragraph 7, memorandum of amendment to ground
line.
lease. It read, this amendment shall not be
Page-
recorded.
Page 5. Paragraph 7, line 1 at the top. It's not, wait a minute, you're,
5, page 5.
Oh,
Page
page
five,
5, not
yeah.
3, okay. Okay,
right up there.
Okay.
Shall not, take the not out.
And then put after recorded, put period. Remove the however. And then it becomes the parties agree, and everything else is fine. Is that correct, Mr. Sweeney?
That's-
Okay. I will tell you, I'm not gonna bother this, but, on page B1, determination of fair market value, land value, I did tell the comptroller's office, they have a thing that if the person who owns the property and the city agree, then they don't have to have a appraisal. And I told them, I think that's bad public policy. I think we should have appraisal, because otherwise, if you have a sweetheart deal between people, and this way we will have some way to know what the value was, and not just between whoever's in office and the person. I'm not gonna get to it this time, but
what committee did this go through?
Ways and Means.
that's Vollmer's committee. Okay.
I'll fill you in.
These things were not
Every day on
caught.
any city property, 'cause remember, these were
And I think those were the ones that we caught. I didn't know if you guys had any, but those are the things that we changed. Then if there was anything else that the committee had,
Okay, is everything else?
I found it okay, but sometimes, Carol, you have a very sharp eye, so maybe you found something else, because you found the difference between the money.
Yes.
Oh, and then, the other thing I wanted to say is, so, this new lease will be starting this year, as soon as we get signed, so we will no longer be getting $100 a year. If you go to the Exhibit D, that we will be getting $165,000 a year, and if you look at Exhibit D, it will increase every 10 years, 5%.
But there's no appraisal for us to know the fair market value of, okay.
And if we have to go back and do that, the comptroller needs to, they agreed to that, so if you have a real problem, I can't say that is not something that makes me comfortable. I just said I wasn't gonna get into it, but this is a committee.
Are you entertaining questions?
Yes, okay, yes, start with Alderwoman Howard.
Okay, Mr. Sweeney, or, I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name again.
Kelly Anderson.
Mr. Anderson, can you explain the history behind this
Sure.
lease and how it came
Sure,
to
sure.
be, so we have a little bit of
Abs-
perspective on this?
Absolutely. And first off, I apologize for not being at the first meeting. I missed that on the agenda, so
Okay.
thank you for holding
That's
this one. So what happened was 75 years ago, the city, it was a Potter's Field, a developer came in, got underwater, and couldn't do anything with the property. So I don't know how, Draper and Kramer is a company based out of Chicago. They bought it then, they still own it, they're continuing to own
Did
it.
they develop and
They
build
did,
on it?
they did, so
Okay.
they've maintained it this whole time and developed on it. They're a family business out of Chicago. They've also have other properties here in the region, and throughout the country. So after, as time wore on, and about 2 years ago, we started talking with the comptroller, to see if the comptroller was interested in selling it, and I'll let Kelly speak to the reasonings why not. But we wanted to, because as time went on, time goes on, these 7 years, if we know we're not gonna get it, maintenance gets deferred because it just doesn't make sense. So, we wanted to be committed to the city and get more money and more fair market value, but B, also, once we have this in place, we'll be able to get money from a bank that shows we have this, and we'll be able to get loans to invest, to improve it. They wanna do significant improvements, not just to the building.
Excuse me for a minute. What she's passing out is I pulled all the old ordinances and the history, of the amendments and things, if anybody wanted to see that. That's for any further clarification. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No problem. Thank you for getting that. And so, they're talking about there's already a clubhouse, but also do more of a pool and maybe some more amenities, workout area, things of that nature.
Thank you very much.
The selling point to this, I think the Alderman is supportive of it, and I don't wanna, what he has said this is, it's really an opportunity for working class people. The rents aren't market rate, they're lower, but it's maintained and it's a nice facility. So you've got folks, that it will continue to leave that structure and that neighborhood and stable, rather than, I mean, we were speaking earlier, I mean, it's 30 acres, I mean, that could be significant, if they were to scrape that and build houses, it'd be pretty expensive probably based on that. So, this allows the neighborhood to stay stable and for folks to live there.
So the goal here, that would open the conversation about changing the lease, because it wasn't turned out.
It was close, I mean, yeah, but yeah,
About 5 more years?
5 years, yeah.
Okay.
But the goal was to improve, well, the goal initially bluntly was we wanted to buy it. I mean,
Okay.
initially, we tried to buy it, and the comptroller wasn't comfortable with that, at least not for a number of years, that she wanted to maintain, and I'll let Kelly
What was-
speak to that.
What was her reasoning for not wanting to sell it?
I think she wanted to, like you said, maintain the neighborhood. They are good tenants, and we haven't had any issues as far as with police calls, and they kept the maintenance up and kept the building up. So I think she just thought it was a good way to continue to have affordable housing in the city where it's not.
It's not government housing, but
Right,
it's
yeah.
affordable and accessible to middle class or other middle class people, and it's all maintained.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think through the years, you've got a lot of people that have moved into the city as their first apartment, and then they stay. So, I mean, it's always good to have that kind of.
Well, it was, I mean, originally it was for the people coming back from World War II. I mean, I had kids that I went to high school with that lived there until their family could purchase a home or have a home built. How did they come up with the rental, the annual rental now as 100 to 165 and then going up, and then the opportunity to purchase it at different times? Can you explain that?
It's my understanding that we did an appraisal, and that's what came back as far as with the appraisal. They did one for if we were selling, as well as if we were going to continue the ground lease.
Okay. And so if they were going to sell it, do you have that information of how much it would,
I don't have it offhand, but I can find the appraisal.
do you happen?
I mean, no, neither of us were, they let some other people do those negotiations, not me, the owner. But I think they were pretty far apart. I mean, I think our value was significantly lower than the city's. So, we were happy to kind of reach this because this is a property that they want to continue to maintain since they know it so intimately.
Okay, and does the Draper and Kramer, do they pay property taxes on
Yes,
the
they do.
improvements?
Yes,
Is it on the land or just on the improvements?
both.
Oh.
They do pay property tax and minimum, and then they also do the improvements.
Even though the city owns the
Yeah,
property?
yeah, they do pay a base amount, yeah.
Do you know approximately what
I
that
can get you
number
that,
is?
yeah.
Okay, I
It's
think
on
I
there.
looked on the
Yeah,
city.
yeah. They,
It's sizable.
yeah, and, I'm sorry.
So they are they aren't getting a tax break on this?
No, there's no
And they are
incentive.
paying the taxes as if they were a private owner.
Correct,
Okay, so they're
Do pay
paying
taxes.
for the improvements
the
and
other
for
thing,
the land
I
tax.
believe so, yeah.
Okay. And then they'll be paying, what is it?
165.
They'll be paying 164,999 more than they were paying.
Now, 164.9, because they paid 100,
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
underestimate
right.
that $100 they paid.
Yeah. So, I guess this is a better deal than what we had, but I still would feel more comfortable if we knew how they arrived at these figures, but, that said.
We
I think
can.
that-
He's gonna get you that appraisal.
Well, and Alderman Vollmer was involved in too, so.
Yeah,
he's been there.
I just think it would be, for the transparency and people knowing how this came to be, because I don't think really many people know. I always thought that was a joke, that land was leased for $1 a year. Because my mom would say, why am I paying so much rent? So, I thought that was sort of one of those rumors that you think, oh, yeah, right. So, that's all I have.
Alderman Arnold.
No, I mean, I'm glad we're getting a lot more than $1 a year.
100.
Yeah, $100, yes, don't forget that, but, and I guess when that was at one time just basically a watered down field, you couldn't do a lot of things on it, so any improvements that you make over the years, but now,
That's where we buried all the indigent
yes.
people.
But now over the years, at least we're getting decent money for it, and they are paying the other taxes, so that's all I have.
Alderwoman Green.
Yeah, I think Alderwoman Howard asked most of the questions that I had already, so I think I'm pretty good too.
But I do want them to explain this, how we determined that we weren't gonna do a fair market land value, which is on B1. I said I'm not gonna do anything about it. But if you look at B1, it says, if within 30 days following lessor's receipt of the purchase notice, so once they execute and say, I'm gonna buy, negotiations between the lessor and the lessee they cannot reach agreement on the fair market value, so they have 30 days. If they reach an agreement, they don't have to get an appraisal. I told them I think that is bad public policy, and I didn't know what the reason behind that, but from going forth, we would not okay anything like that, okay? That we're too far along with this deal to do anything, I think, but in the future, I think we need at least one appraisal. Does the committee agree?
Seems fair, yes.
Okay, that way we won't think that there's some kind of sweetheart deal, right? Okay, I'm sorry, Alderman Todd. Okay. Any questions? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to pass this out with a do-pass recommendation with the stated changes in the bill, which we're gonna
So moved.
Second.
say are scribe errors. We have a motion and a second.
Previous row.
There you go.
Good job,
We
Larry.
have a motion. And we have a call for previous roll. Whoever sits in this chair gets it, I guess.
I wanted to say, I'm gonna follow
Is there any objections to previous roll? Hearing none, Board Bill 192 as amended is passed out with a do-pass recommendation. Thank you
all.
so much, I
Thank you for your
appreciate it.
time.
Okay, you two, we're gonna break you up, sit next, we're gonna put women over there.
You don't wanna see the mayor body.
Yeah, I'm prejudiced like that. Okay, the next thing we have, I'll put mine down to the end. Boy, we have all the people on our committee. Okay, so, the next one is mine, Board Bill 190. We'll go to Alderwoman Howard's. Alderwoman Howard, Board Bill 200. It's the
Pay bill.
pay bill, thank you. You wanna sit there, or you wanna go down there?
Oh, well,
Okay.
thought we were just looking at a court
I know hers is right.
for correctness.
Correct.
Okay. This board bill changes some of the relationships between the city of St. Louis and employees under the classified service, civil service code. Compensation plan, terms and conditions of employment benefits, leaves of absence, authorization for a deferred compensation plan, repealing ordinance 70791, and allocating certain other employees to a grade with rate and including an emergency clause. Provisions of the sections contained in this bill shall be effective at the start of the first period prior to the following the approval of the mayor.
Okay, so in the first pay period will be right as soon as they, if we get it signed.
I believe it's the 29th of March.
Okay. All right. Okay, since the senior person is the person presenting the bill, we'd go to questions from Alderman Arnowitz. Do you have any questions?
Yes, Alderwoman, if you don't mind. So these are the new pay grades
Right.
for the upcoming budget? I was just wondering, we don't have, I mean, just out of curiosity, I wanted to ask the previous pay grades on some jobs, but.
I actually do have the old pay ordinance if you want it.
Okay, and I just wanna look at it, so
Okay,
basically.
I can send it to you digitally.
Okay.
Or I can have it printed out, either way you want it.
Okay, print it out.
Okay, I'll have it printed out
But,
that before, and when we finish with this.
Yeah, and
Okay.
cause I know that they were doing a study and reclassifying, so, you know, and there is some jobs in there, I believe, just for example, 9/11 dispatchers for EMS are paid way more than 9/11 dispatchers for police. And not only that, but other civil service jobs, so.
So I will also give you, just, excuse me, I also requested from the personnel, director, a copy with everything underlined, or bolded that was changed,
Okay.
okay?
That's good.
Is that what, would you
Yes,
like that
ma'am.
one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you want that now?
No, no, just
Okay.
when you get
Okay.
it, so. But, thank you, I'm glad we got this ball moving, and I know when Alderwoman Tyus was chairman of the committee, she got some things moving, so. Between both of you, we're taking steps forward. so.
Pay our employees
Which
a
is,
better wage.
yes, so,
Well, and some of the lower steps were taken off of the schedule because they were not even, $15 an hour. So they
I
moved
know,
a lot of those
I
off of
worked
there.
35 years, I could never get to the top.
Uh-huh.
But, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, any further questions?
No, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Alderwoman Green?
Thank you. Just a couple of questions. So this factors in the $15 an hour minimum, correct? What happens to people who were already making like just
That's
over
what they
that?
have to readjust.
Okay.
That'll be readjusted because in other words, if I get an increase and I'm your, or say you get an increase and I'm your supervisor,
Yes.
they'll have to adjust those so that, I would be making more than you.
Okay, so then it ends up kind of retooling
The whole pay grade, yeah, the whole
pay
ladder,
grade. So
yeah.
theoretically, somebody that was making close to 15 will now, make a little bit more,
Right,
whatever, so that it's not, we didn't just bring up the bottom
No.
Okay.
It's a complete revamp of the whole,
of the whole system, and then eliminating those bottom
Those bottom
steps
ones, yeah.
that no longer,
and actually sometimes renaming some of those jobs because they were
okay.
no longer,
They still exist, or they're no
Well,
longer
the jobs,
out?
some of them exist, some of them have been changed and renamed because they don't do what they normally
Okay.
did before.
Okay, so it's bigger than just the,
And I expect once we get the pay study, they'll be doing some more
Exactly.
retooling.
okay, that makes sense. All right, no further questions, thank you.
Alderman Todd.
Are there any departments that will not be getting a raise?
Well, it's all civil service employees, all the county offices have to put in for their raise also, I learned
So they're
that.
not included in here?
County offices are separate, they're managed completely separate by, in other words, the county offices,
They're not
Um,
civil service.
Michael Butler in the Recorder of Deeds manages his own office, the Collector of Revenue, Mr. Daly manages his own office. So
Okay.
they will be submitting, I expect, submitting some bills for
Okay.
that.
I heard the police don't get a raise, do their supervisors get a raise?
They're redoing the steps though,
And when you say redoing the step, will that mean a pay increase
possibly for some,
for some but not for others?
not, well, I mean, It may mean, but what they're doing is the steps will be redone, the range and the pay.
Okay.
No more questions.
So I think what she's trying to say to you is that, and she asked this question, Alderwoman Green, proportional. So if I was making, let's just say, $1 more than you, and then you go up to 15, I'm pretty much gonna make $1 more than you. They're gonna bump me up so that I don't lose because I wasn't making less than 15. So that's what's gonna happen. But we actually have another pay study that it took a year to get done, that while I was the chair, we ordered. And so that will also give more people raises. Because what we found out with just doing the water department is that they were grossly underpaid, okay? And so when we always, we hear we can't hire people, and it's always about the residency, some of it is about the money, okay? Is that people can make more money. Our trash truck drivers and things like that, they can make more money, so you have to go to where the money is. So I think that this is just
It's a,
continuation
continuing.
of upgrading what we should be paying people.
and it's a complex, hiring people is a complex issue.
Right,
It isn't contingent upon one thing.
One thing, exactly, right. And I think also that as we get more money, and everybody
Be
says the
more
economy,
tax.
there you go. It's good all around, okay? And I think this is a great bill. I actually read all but the last 3 or 4 pages. And I will email to each of you all the copy that shows what was changed. And if you want it printed out, you can have your secretary, or I will print it out if you want. I just don't like to do paper if we don't have to, okay? But that way it's highlighted what was changed in the bill,
And I appreciate it.
okay? Any further questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to pass our board bill 200 with a do pass recommendation.
So moved.
Second,
Previous roll.
There's been a motion, a second, and a request for.
Rush into the thing.
And a request for previous roll. You two cannot sit by each other.
we're working together.
You two cannot
That's
sit by
progress.
each other. And there's been a request for previous roll. Is there an objection to previous roll? Hearing none, board bill 200 is passed. I will do pass recommendation. So the next one is my bill, so I will ask the vice chair to take this seat so I can present to you this very important alley closing. And I presented a map, and the map is not attached. Oh my God.
I don't see your bill.
It's only one page, but I had a map.
Here it is.
Oh, it's and on the back side.
Oh, it's on the back side. I'm like, okay.
Trying to be a little bit more
I know where this
environmentally
is at,
friendly.
between Pine and Lexington.
Yes,
I think we should all have
I'm mad at me
an
because
iPad or a pad of
Yes.
some sort.
Yes,
I had a
that we can
map
just bring these up.
Oh,
so that
I
you
mean, the
could see
laptops are
exactly
nice,
what
but
it
they
is. It
weigh a
might be
ton.
in here. I gave it to Streets, but I guess it wasn't part of the.
Antiquated.
I know where Pine and Lexington
If I got one with me. I'm sorry, I'm breaking our rules. I did make a map and present it with Streets, and I guess I assumed that it will be attached, but Board Bill 195 is gonna close an alley. If you go down North Kings Highway, there is, before you get to the White Castles, there is a Church's Chicken that's right there between Lexington and Palm. There used to be a doctor's building. It was a historical building because that's where the black doctors practice. It was tore down last year because LRA gave it to somebody that I asked them not to, and then that person set it on fire when they couldn't get done what they wanted, so we had to tear it down. So the only thing on the block, and it faces the post office, and it's on the east side of the street, and it's between Lexington and Palm. The only thing on the block is Church's Chicken now. And what we have behind it is and I can bring it up on Google
I think
Maps.
Terry went to go get a map.
Okay, but I had it, and I had it all marked, and Streets Department was, the Streets Committee was very happy with it. But anyway, so what we have had happen is that People leave the Church's Chicken, and the alley that's behind it runs the same way north and south as Kings Highway, and it intersects an alley that's all residential. And they're cutting through, they're dumping, they're doing all kind of things. So I am going to close the alley off right at the T intersection, which only affects the commercial traffic from Church's Chicken. They will still be able to go out, going north. There's an exit to go north, and and then Palm is closed right there, right there where the residential parts of the 4900 block of Palm is closed. So they'll be able to go out and then hit Kings Highway, but they will not be able to go down that alley and do dumping and whatever else they're doing behind that. And I'm gonna pull it up, I'm so sorry.
All right, are there, entertain questions, Alderwoman Howard?
So this won't affect your residents' trash pickup?
No, because it's a T alley. If you go down to the next street over from Kings Highway is Euclid, which runs north and south. The alley intersects Euclid, so the trash trucks can come up Euclid. Lexington is one way, head west, then they come out the alley and go out Lexington, which there's a not a stop sign, a street light. Palm is closed, which is the next street over, because White Castles is next to them. So this has been a struggle with this neighborhood because of the fast food. When you go up on Natural Bridge, it's all fast food. The residents asked for it because people are dumping. I'm gonna bring it up on, I actually went on to Google Earth and made a map and marked everything. And I guess now I know that, it's not, you don't get, they didn't attach the map. I thought they had made it part of my, let's see, what am I, Euclid, okay. I thought they had made it part of my board bill, I'm sorry. I'm trying to bring it up so I can show it to you all. It's 3400 North Kings Highway. There it is.
Alderman Arnowitz, do you have questions?
No, ma'am, not at this time. I understand what the Alderwoman is trying to do, and I pretty much know the area a little bit. So I get what she's leading to, so, no, ma'am.
I can show each of you. So here is it on Google. So this building is gone.
Okay,
Right here is the alley. This is where I'm gonna close it right here.
okay, so in other words, they'll be able to come up and come this way?
Yeah, and, right,
And
every,
this is all commercial
this is,
anyways.
and it's only the Church's Chicken, cause this
Right.
is gone. Right, and it's
And they
just
have
keep
their
people.
private carrier.
And see, they can still, since this street is closed, they'll be able to come out.
And their dumpster's probably right there.
Right,
Okay, yeah, because that's, people have asked me to close off alleys, but the problem is the trash collection.
right. But if you go down further down here, this is
They can
Euclid.
get through,
See,
yeah.
here's Euclid,
And
that,
they'll be able to come up and pick up, yeah.
correct.
Alderman Todd?
So here is Church's Chicken here. This building is tore down. This street is 4900 block of Palm is closed. This is one way to west. We're gonna close it right here, so the people, when they leave Church's, they still can come out
We
here,
got that.
hit Kings Highway, or they come out here.
Go that way.
That's
It was in the file.
Are you ready?
It was in the file, we just.
Oh, okay.
We got it.
Better at this.
I got you, Alderwoman.
See, I'm saying, so I got all kind of edibles when I went before the,
And the church still had the two-piece chicken and biscuit for $1 Tuesday?
yes. How do you know that,
I've
Alderman?
been there.
Okay, so I did have some color too, but okay, yes, so if you look at this, the churches faces Kings Highway. Palm right there, not Kentucky Fried, but White Castles backs up to Palm. We actually have Palm closed, you can see those little barrels, but we're gonna move those barrels up, because White Castles is getting ready to do significant improvement, and they're gonna move their exit and entrance closer to the curb, so they're not part of the residential community. You can see where I said we're gonna close the alley right there. And it won't affect, this is gonna become a green space where that building was, the doctor's building. We're gonna make that a beautiful green space. And then the Church's Chicken won't be affected, and neither will the trash pickup, because that alley that intersects where we're gonna close goes all the way out to Euclid, so the trash people can come up Euclid, but more than likely, they also go down one-way streets. And they'll more than likely go down Lexington and do that. But we don't encourage that.
Wow.
Alderman Todd, do you have any questions? Then I will entertain a motion to pass out Board Bill number 195 with a D-pass recommendation.
So moved.
Second?
Previous roll.
Any objections? Hearing no objections, Board Bill 195 has passed out with a D-pass recommendation.
You might as well finish it, because we have nothing else left.
Next one. Okay, let's
That's it,
see.
because we don't have Mr. Alderman
Yes.
Ornaments, it's not,
Yes, this,
Before us.
actually, Board Bill 199 is not ready to be before this
Okay.
committee.
Oh, so that's it.
This was,
So we're-
the bill was sponsored by Brett Narian, and, he has to get some more information on it.
Okay, so then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
Second?
Adjourned.
All right, thank you.